Welcome to Become Sleepy, a place to listen, unwind, and drift off to sleep. I am Daniel, and it's truly a pleasure to have you here with me. Take a moment now to settle into your most comfortable position. Whether you're lying in bed, resting in the chair, or finding your perfect spot, allow yourself to simply be here in this moment. Let's begin by taking 3 slow, deep breaths together. Breathe in slowly through your nose and gently release through your mouth. Again, breathing in and letting go. One more time. In and out. Now, starting from top of your head, imagine a wave of gentle relaxation beginning to flow through your body. Feel the muscles in your forehead softening, your eyes growing heavy, your jaw releasing any tension it may be holding. Allow your arms to rest completely, your hands opening and releasing, your chest rising and falling in its natural rhythm. Feel this gentle relaxation flowing through your torso, down through your hips and legs, all the way to your feet. Imagine yourself in that perfect place of peace, perhaps lying by a gentle river under a star-filled sky, or nestled in the coziest bed with moonlight softly streaming through the window. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this peaceful space, your breathing becoming slower and more rhythmic, your body feeling wonderfully heavy and relaxed. You are exactly where you need to be, perfectly safe, perfectly comfortable, perfectly ready to let go. In just a moment, we will continue this journey together with sounds and stories designed to carry you gently into the deepest, more restorative sleep. Allow yourself to drift, to float, to simply be carried by whatever comes next. Emma will be reading to us this evening as we follow along with Pixel, a small tabby cat, living with a human family and 2 other cats. While cats obviously don't think in human language or concepts, I've tried to capture what I imagine observations of strange behavior of their human companions, filtered through a very feline worldview that sees humans as large, clumsy, and somewhat helpless creatures who nonetheless make excellent companions. Finally, if you enjoyed this story, I would love it if you could hit the like button and subscribe. When you're ready, drop a comment and tell me where you're tuning in from. Hearing from listeners around the world absolutely makes my day.
My name is Pixel, and I am very small. The giants who live in this house seem to think this is important, always making those soft cooing sounds when they see me. Oh, look how tiny she is, they say, as if being small is some kind of achievement. I suppose it is. It lets me fit into places the other cats cannot, which gives me certain advantages in this strange world we share with the giants. The giants are peculiar creatures. They walk on only 2 legs, which seems terribly inefficient, and they're constantly making noise with their mouths. Unlike us cats, who communicate with purpose and precision, the giants seem to chatter endlessly about nothing. They point at glowing rectangles and make frustrated sounds, or they stare into larger glowing rectangles and become completely motionless for hours. I live with 2 other cats in this house. Duchess, a pristine white Persian who believes she is royalty, she might be right, and Buster, an orange tabby who is convinced that everything edible belongs to him. We 3 have formed an uneasy alliance in our quest to understand and manage our giants. The giants, you see, are helpless, completely, utterly helpless. Every morning the same drama unfolds. The giants make terrible screeching sounds when a small black box beside their sleeping platform begins its horrible wailing. This seems to cause them great distress, yet they continue to keep this torturer in their most private space. I have knocked it off the sleeping platform several times to help them, but they always put it back. After the screeching box trauma, the giants stumble around like newborn kittens, bumping into things and making confused noises. This is when we cats spring into action. Duchess positions herself regally by the food bowls, her blue eyes conveying the urgency of our breakfast requirements. Buster employs his more direct approach, which involves walking directly in front of the giant's feet while purring at maximum volume. As for me, I have perfected the art of the pathetic meow, a small, desperate sound that suggests I am wasting away to nothing. The giants seem to understand this routine, though they perform it with much unnecessary drama. They shuffle to the kitchen, open cans with great ceremony, and distribute our meals as if they're performing some sacred ritual. Duchess sniffs hers delicately before eating. Buster inhales his in approximately 3 seconds, and I eat with the careful precision that comes from being small. Every bite must count. But here's what I've observed. The giants don't seem to know how to hunt. After feeding us, they stand in front of a tall white box, which I've learned makes food cold, though I can't understand why anyone would want cold food, and stare into it for long periods, making sounds of distress. Sometimes they remove items and put them back several times. Sometimes they close the door and walk away, only to return moments later and repeat the process. I have tried to help by bringing them small prey, a mouse here, a bird there, but they make awful shrieking sounds and act as if I've done something wrong. This is when I realised how truly helpless they are. They cannot hunt, they cannot climb, they cannot even see properly in the dark. How have they survived this long? Living in this house has taught me about hierarchies. Duchess believes she sits at the top, and honestly, she might be right. She has trained the female giant, I call her Soft Voice, to brush her fur every evening while making admiring sounds. Duchess accepts this tribute with the grace of a queen accepting offerings from peasants. Buster has established himself as the household's chief security officer and entertainment director. He has convinced the male giant, Loud Voice, that they are best friends. Every evening when Loud Voice sits on the large soft rectangle in front of the big glowing rectangle, Buster claims the entire lap, purring like a small motor. Loud Voice seems to enjoy this, though it clearly restricts his movement considerably. My role, I've discovered, is more subtle, but perhaps more crucial. I am the household's emotional support specialist and crisis manager. When Soft Voice makes those salt water leakages from her eyes, a disturbing giant behaviour I still don't fully understand, I climb onto her chest and purr directly over her heart. This seems to help, though I'm not sure why. When Loud Voice becomes agitated while staring at the glowing rectangles, I position myself on his desk and begin grooming myself with great deliberation. This usually makes him laugh, which seems to calm him. But the most important thing I've learned is this: the giants need us far more than we need them. Oh, certainly, they provide food and warmth and those wonderful boxes that make excellent napping spots. But we provide them with something more essential. We give their lives structure and meaning. There are many things about giants that remain mysterious to me. For instance, they seem to have a ritual involving water that they perform in a small white room. They stand under falling water and make satisfied sounds, which seems bizarre to me. All of us cats have tried to understand this behaviour. Duchess observed from the doorway with obvious disgust. Buster attempted to join Loud Voice once. The results were loud and wet and traumatic for everyone involved. And I have concluded that this is simply another example of giant inefficiency. They haven't learned to clean themselves properly. Then there's their obsession with putting things in their mouths that aren't food. They wrap small white sticks in fire and breathe the smoke, which makes the whole house smell terrible. They drink brown, bitter water that makes them move faster and talk more. They consume golden liquid that makes them move slower and laugh louder. None of this makes sense from a survival perspective. The giants also seem incapable of resting properly. We cats understand that sleep is an art form, 16 to 20 hours a day, distributed efficiently throughout the day and night, always in the most comfortable and secure location available. The giants, however, fight sleep. They stay awake at night, staring at glowing rectangles, making their eyes red and tired, then complain about being tired the next day. Sometimes I sit on their glowing rectangles to force them to rest, but they usually just pick me up and move me, missing the point entirely. Duchess has a different theory about the giants. She believes they are large, clumsy cats who have forgotten how to be cats. "Look at how they try to play," she told me one afternoon while grooming her pristine white fur. "They wave those stick toys for us, but they do it all wrong. No patience, no strategy. And have you seen them try to stalk? They stomp around making noise like elephants." She paused in her grooming to fix me with her penetrating blue stare. "I believe they are a subspecies of cat that evolved to be large but lost all their essential cat skills. That's why they need us. We're teaching them how to be proper cats again." Buster has a more practical view. "Who cares what they are?" he said, while systematically destroying a cardboard box. "They open cans, they provide laps, and they clean our waste boxes without even eating the contents. They're like servants, except they seem happy about it." But I think we're both missing something important. I've watched the giants carefully, and I don't think they're defective cats or willing servants. I think they're a completely different kind of creature, one that forms bonds not through dominance or territory, but through something else entirely. My understanding of the giants deepened the day Soft Voice got sick. She spent several days lying on the sleeping platform, making weak sounds and leaking salt water. The other giants, apparently there are more of them who don't live here but visit sometimes, came and went, all making worried noises. During this time, something interesting happened with our little household hierarchy. Duchess abandoned her usual aloof perch on the highest bookshelf and took up residence on the sleeping platform next to Soft Voice. She didn't purr. Duchess rarely purrs, but she stayed close, her white fur a stark contrast against the dark coverings. Buster, meanwhile, appointed himself guardian of the bedroom door. He positioned himself in the doorway and refused to let anyone pass without his approval. When Loud Voice tried to enter with food, Buster would inspect him thoroughly before stepping aside. As for me, I discovered something that surprised us all. I could sense when Soft Voice was about to have one of her coughing fits before it happened. A few minutes before each episode, I would climb onto her chest and begin purring. Somehow, this seemed to help her breathe easier. Loud Voice noticed this pattern and started paying attention to my behaviour. When I would position myself on Soft Voice's chest, he would prepare the medicine and the tissues. We became a team, Loud Voice and I, working together to care for Soft Voice. This is when I realised the truth about giants. They're pack animals like dogs, but more complex. They form bonds not just for survival, but for emotional support. And somehow, inexplicably, they've decided to include us cats in their pack. Once I understood that giants operate on emotional bonds rather than simple dominance hierarchies, everything else began to make sense. The reason they make those cooing sounds when they see me isn't because they think being small is an achievement. It's because my size triggers their protective instincts. They want to take care of me. The reason they tolerate Duchess's demands for grooming isn't because they recognize her superiority. It's because they enjoy the ritual of caring for her. The reason they welcome Buster's lap invasions isn't because they're submitting to his dominance. It's because they find comfort in his presence. We cats, I realised, have stumbled into the perfect arrangement. We provide the giants with companionship, comfort, and a sense of purpose, and in return, they handle all the tedious aspects of survival: food procurement, shelter maintenance, waste management, and protection from larger predators, like dogs and vacuum cleaners. But it's more than just a practical arrangement. I've watched Loud Voice's face when Buster greets him at the door each evening, and I've seen how Soft Voice smiles when Duchess deigns to sit near her. There's genuine affection there, not just utility. Being the smallest cat in the house comes with certain responsibilities. I can fit into spaces the others cannot, which means I'm often called upon for reconnaissance missions. When something falls behind the large furniture, I'm the one who can retrieve it. When strange sounds come from small spaces, I'm the one who investigates. But my most important responsibility is being the household's early warning system. My small size means I'm more sensitive to changes in the environment. I can detect when storms are coming before anyone else. The air pressure changes first affect those of us who are small. I can sense when the giants are getting sick before they know it themselves. Their scent changes subtly. I can even predict when the dreaded vacuum cleaner is about to emerge from its closet lair. Soft Voice always moves in a particular pattern when she's preparing for the weekly floor torture ritual. This early warning system has proven invaluable to our household's harmony. When I alert the others to an incoming storm, Duchess can position herself in her preferred hiding spot before the thunder starts. When I detect pre-vacuum behaviour, Buster can make himself scarce before the noise begins. When I sense that one of the giants is feeling sad, we can all mobilise to provide comfort before the situation becomes critical. One thing that has always puzzled me about giants is their relationship with furniture. They seem to spend enormous amounts of time and energy arranging large objects around the house, then become upset when we cats use these objects for their obvious intended purposes. Take the large soft rectangle in the main room. Buster calls it the lap machine, which I think is accurate. Clearly, this object was designed for napping. It's soft, it's elevated, it's positioned perfectly to observe the entire room. Yet when we cats claim our rightful spots on this furniture, the giants act as if we're doing something wrong. The same thing happens with the smaller soft circles scattered around the house. Obviously, these are individual cat beds, sized for maximum comfort. Yet the giants seem to think these are for them to sit on, despite the fact that they have legs and can stand perfectly well. The most baffling furniture mystery involves the small round platforms scattered throughout the house at perfect cat height. These are clearly designed as cat perches. They're exactly the right size, they're stable, and they offer excellent views of the surrounding area. Some even come with decorative objects that are obviously meant to be knocked off for our entertainment. Yet when we use these platforms as intended, the giants make distressed sounds and rearrange the decorative objects. I've concluded that the giants have forgotten the true purpose of furniture. They think it's for them, when clearly it was all designed with cats in mind. We're simply helping them remember by demonstrating the proper use of each piece. Communication with giants is an ongoing challenge. They seem to have a very limited vocabulary of sounds, and they use the same sounds to mean different things depending on the context. For instance, they make a particular sound that can mean hello, I'm surprised, I disagree, or I'm in pain. How are we supposed to understand them with such imprecise communication? We cats, on the other hand, have developed a sophisticated system of communication specifically designed for interacting with giants. Each of us has perfected different techniques. Duchess uses the power of silence. Her communications are all visual: a glance, a positioning of her body, a particular way of holding her tail. The giants have learned to read these subtle signals and respond appropriately. Buster employs volume and repetition. When he wants something, he meows loudly and continuously until he gets it. This brute force approach is effective, though lacking in elegance. My approach is more nuanced. I've developed different meows for different situations. The I'm hungry meow, short and demanding. The I'm lonely meow, long and plaintive. The there's something interesting outside meow, excited and trilling. And the pay attention to me meow, soft and conversational. But the most effective communication tool I've discovered is the purr. Giants seem to understand purring on an instinctual level. When I purr, they relax. When I stop purring, they become concerned. I can control their emotional state simply by modulating my purr volume and frequency. One of the most perplexing giant behaviours involves a small red dot that appears on walls and floors. This dot moves erratically, defying all natural laws. It has no scent, no substance, no predictable behaviour. Yet all three of us cats feel compelled to chase it. The strange thing is that the red dot only appears when one of the giants is holding a small cylindrical object and pointing it around the room. I've observed this correlation, but I haven't yet determined whether the giants control the red dot or if the red dot controls the giants. Duchess maintains her dignity during red dot encounters, watching with interest but rarely participating in the actual chase. It's clearly some form of hunting simulation, she explained to me. The giants are trying to keep our skills sharp. Buster has no such reservations. He attacks the red dot with the ferocity of a lion hunting gazelle. The fact that he never catches it doesn't seem to discourage him. "Next time," he always says, "next time I'll get it." I find the red dot fascinating, but ultimately unsatisfying. My small size gives me advantages in the chase. I can change direction quickly, I can reach spots the others cannot, but the dot's lack of substance means there's never a satisfying conclusion to the hunt. I've begun to suspect that the red dot is some form of giant magic, designed to provide us with exercise and entertainment. If so, it's quite thoughtful of them, even if the execution is somewhat unsatisfying. Nighttime reveals the true nature of our household dynamics. During the day, the giants are active, and we cats must work around their schedule. But at night, the house belongs to us. This is when our real work begins. While the giants sleep inefficiently in one long stretch instead of proper cat naps, we cats patrol the house, checking for intruders, monitoring the borders, and ensuring everything is secure. Duchess takes the high watch, positioning herself on top of the tall bookshelf where she can observe all the windows and doors. Her white fur makes her easily visible to any potential intruders, which I believe is intentional, a warning that this territory is guarded. Buster patrols the main floor, checking the doors and windows, investigating any unusual sounds, and ensuring that all the food sources are secure. His orange bulk moving through the shadows is quite impressive, actually. My role is reconnaissance and early warning. My small size allows me to slip into tight spaces and investigate areas the others cannot reach. I check behind furniture, under appliances, and in closets. If I detect anything unusual, I alert the others with a specific type of chirp that means potential threat detected. But our most important nighttime duty is giant monitoring. We take turns checking on our sleeping giants to ensure they're breathing properly, that they haven't gotten tangled in their covers, and that they're maintaining proper body temperature. If a giant seems restless, one of us will position ourselves nearby to provide comfort. I've noticed that our presence affects the giant's sleep quality. When all three of us are on patrol, the giants sleep more soundly. When one of us is absent, usually due to a medical visit to the terrible place with the steel tables and sharp instruments, the giants seem to sleep less peacefully. Occasionally, other giants visit our house, and these encounters provide fascinating insights into giant social behaviour. The visiting giants behave differently from our resident giants. They're louder, more animated, and they seem to feel the need to acknowledge our presence in ways our regular giants don't. "Oh, what a pretty cat," they exclaim when they see Duchess, as if they've discovered something remarkable. Duchess accepts these compliments graciously, though she clearly considers them redundant. "He's so big," they say about Buster, who preens under the attention. Buster has never met a compliment he didn't like. "How tiny," they say about me, which I'm beginning to understand is their standard response to my existence. But what's most interesting is how our regular giants behave around the visiting giants. They seem to take pride in our behaviour, as if we reflect well on them somehow. When Duchess allows a visitor to pet her, our giants beam with satisfaction. When Buster performs his friendly lap cat routine, they act as if he's doing them a personal favour. When I demonstrate my climbing abilities or my precision in navigating tight spaces, they point it out to the visitors as if showcasing my talents. This suggests that giants have some form of social hierarchy among themselves, and that we cats play a role in establishing their status within that hierarchy. Well-behaved cats apparently increase a giant's social standing. The giant's relationship with food remains one of the great mysteries of our household. Unlike us cats, who understand that food should be consumed when it's fresh and available, giants have developed a complex system of food preparation that involves heating, cooling, mixing, and waiting. They take perfectly good food and do terrible things to it. They put it in hot metal containers until it makes bubbling sounds. They mix it with other foods for no apparent reason. They add substances that make the food smell different. Sometimes they even add fire to food, which seems dangerous and counterproductive. The most baffling aspect of giant food behaviour is their tendency to gather around food and make conversation while eating. We cats understand that eating is a serious business that requires concentration and awareness of one's surroundings. The giants, however, seem to think eating is a social activity. I've observed them carefully during these communal eating sessions. They use metal implements to move food to their mouths instead of eating directly, which seems inefficient. They pause frequently in their eating to make mouth sounds at each other. Sometimes they even stop eating entirely to make extended mouth sounds, allowing their food to get cold. Despite these strange behaviors, I've noticed that giants seem happier when they eat together than when they eat alone. Perhaps this is another example of their pack bonding behavior. Sharing food strengthens their social connections. One area where giants clearly need our help is grooming. They seem to have lost all their natural grooming instincts and have developed a complicated system of artificial grooming tools and techniques. They use harsh substances that foam and bubble to clean themselves, stripping away natural oils that they then have to replace with other artificial substances. They use sharp metal implements to remove fur from parts of their bodies while encouraging fur growth on other parts. They paint their claws with colourful substances that serve no apparent practical purpose. Most puzzling of all, they seem incapable of grooming each other. I've never seen one giant grooming another giant, despite the fact that mutual grooming is clearly the most efficient and bonding approach to hygiene. This is where we cats can provide valuable assistance. When Soft Voice is feeling sad, I groom her hands with careful precision, demonstrating proper technique. She seems to appreciate this, making soft sounds and holding very still so I can do a thorough job. Duchess occasionally grooms Loud Voice's hair when he leans down to pet her, though she does this with an air of condescension, as if she's teaching a particularly slow kitten. Buster's approach to giant grooming is more enthusiastic than skillful. He tends to lick faces with great vigour, which the giants seem to find overwhelming rather than helpful. Living with multiple cats and giants in the same space requires careful territorial management. Each of us has claimed certain areas as our primary territory, though we maintain shared spaces for common activities. Duchess has claimed the bedroom as her primary domain. The large sleeping platform is her throne, the sunny windowsill is her observation post, and the soft chair in the corner is her retreat. She allows the giants to use the sleeping platform at night, but during the day, it's clearly her space. Buster has established dominance over the main living area. The large, soft rectangle is his kingdom. The space in front of the food bowls is his dining room, and the sunny spot on the carpet is his personal sunbathing area. He shares these spaces generously with the giants, but everyone understands that he's the primary occupant. My territory is more distributed. I've claimed high places throughout the house that the others cannot reach. The top of the refrigerator, the narrow shelf above the washing machine, the space behind the books on the high bookshelf. These elevated positions give me excellent sight lines for monitoring the entire house. The giants seem to have their own territorial preferences, though they're much less systematic about claiming and defending space. They tend to cluster around certain pieces of furniture and spend time in rooms with lots of artificial light. Occasionally, territorial disputes arise. When Buster decides he wants to nap in Duchess's sunny windowsill, negotiations can become tense. When I claim a spot on Duchess's preferred chair, diplomatic solutions must be found. The giants usually stay out of these disputes, wisely recognizing that we cats are perfectly capable of working out our own territorial arrangements. Beyond the walls of our house lies the great outside, a vast, dangerous realm that the giants seem to fear for us. They go out there themselves regularly, but they become very upset if any of us cats attempt to explore it. I've managed to slip outside a few times, and I can understand their concern. The great outside is overwhelming. Too many scents, too many sounds, too many moving objects. The spaces are too large, the boundaries are unclear, and there are no comfortable furniture pieces positioned at convenient intervals. Duchess has expressed no interest in the great outside. "Why would I want to go out there?" she asks. "Everything I need is here. The food is reliable, the temperature is controlled, and there are no large predators." Buster is more curious about the great outside, but his few expeditions have ended quickly. "It's too big," he reported after one brief escape, "and there's nowhere comfortable to sit." My explorations have been more extensive, partly because my small size makes me harder for the giants to catch when I make a break for freedom. What I've discovered is that the great outside is beautiful but impractical. There are interesting smells and sounds, fascinating small creatures to observe, and appealing high places to climb. But there are also uncomfortable temperatures, wet precipitation that falls from the sky, and no reliable food sources. I've concluded that the giant's protectiveness regarding the great outside is actually quite sensible. They've created a controlled... One area where giants clearly need our help is grooming. They seem to have lost all their natural grooming instincts and have developed a complicated system of artificial grooming tools and techniques. They use harsh substances that foam and bubble to clean themselves, stripping away natural oils that they then have to replace with other artificial substances. They use sharp metal implements to remove fur from parts of their bodies, while encouraging fur growth on other parts. They paint their claws with colourful substances that serve no apparent practical purpose. My explorations have been more extensive, partly because my small size makes me harder for the giants to catch when I make a break for freedom. What I've discovered is that the great outside is beautiful but impractical. There are interesting smells and sounds, fascinating small creatures to observe, and appealing high places to climb. But there are also uncomfortable temperatures, wet precipitation that falls from the sky, and no reliable food sources. I've concluded that the giant's protectiveness regarding the great outside is actually quite sensible. They've created a controlled environment that provides all the benefits of territory, security, comfort, resources, without the disadvantages: weather, predators, unreliable food sources. One of the most important services we cats provide to our giants is emotional and physical healing. I've observed that when giants are sad, sick, or stressed, our presence has a measurably positive effect on their condition. My purr, in particular, seems to have almost magical properties. When I position myself on a giant's chest and purr at my optimal frequency, their breathing becomes deeper and more regular. Their heart rate slows to match the rhythm of my purr. The tension in their muscles decreases. I've tested this healing effect systematically. When Soft Voice has headaches, I position myself on her forehead and purr softly. The headaches seem to diminish. When Loud Voice has back pain, I curl up against his lower back and purr steadily. He reports feeling better afterward. Duchess's healing approach is more subtle but equally effective. She provides what I call therapeutic presence, simply being near a distressed giant without demanding attention or interaction. Her calm, dignified energy seems to have a stabilizing effect on giant emotions. Buster's healing technique involves what humans call lap therapy. When a giant is feeling overwhelmed, Buster positions himself on their lap and becomes a warm, purring anchor that prevents them from moving around and increasing their stress levels. He forces them to sit still and breathe deeply. I believe this healing ability is one of the reasons giants keep us around. They may not consciously understand the therapeutic benefits of cat companionship, but they respond to it instinctively. Living with giants has given me an appreciation for routine that I never had as a stray kitten. Each day follows a predictable pattern that provides security and comfort for all of us. Morning begins with the giant struggle against the screeching box, followed by our systematic campaign for breakfast. Once we've successfully directed the giants through their food-providing duties, we settle into the day's activities. Duchess spends her mornings grooming herself to perfection and then positioning herself in the sunniest available spot for her first nap of the day. She maintains a rotating schedule of napping locations that follows the sun's path across the house. Buster conducts his morning security patrol, checking all the windows for potential threats, squirrels, birds, other cats, and then settles into his preferred spot on the large soft rectangle for his morning nap. I use the morning hours for exploration and reconnaissance. I investigate any changes in the house overnight, check for interesting smells or sounds, and test my climbing skills on various pieces of furniture. The middle of the day is quiet time. The giants often leave the house during these hours, engaging in mysterious activities that they never adequately explain. While they're gone, we maintain house security and catch up on our napping. Evenings are social time. The giants return. There's a second feeding ceremony, and then we all settle into our evening positions. This is when the giants engage in their glowing rectangle staring rituals, and we provide companionship and lap-warming services. Nights belong to us cats, as I've mentioned. We patrol, we hunt small indoor prey like dust particles and shadows, and we monitor our sleeping giants. This routine provides structure not just for us cats, but for the giants as well. I've noticed that when the routine is disrupted, everyone becomes unsettled. The giants seem as dependent on our predictable behaviours as we are on theirs. After many months of careful observation and analysis, I think I finally understand the most mysterious aspect of giant behaviour, their capacity for what they call love. Love, as far as I can determine, is a giant emotion that compels them to care for other creatures without expectation of practical benefit. It's what makes them provide food, shelter, and medical care for us cats, even though we don't contribute to their survival in any measurable way. This love manifests in many ways. It's in the gentle way soft voice speaks to us when she thinks we're sleeping. It's in the way loud voice worries when one of us seems unwell. It's in the care they take to make the house comfortable and safe for us. But here's what I find most remarkable. I think we cats have developed our own version of love in response to the giant's love for us. When I choose to sleep curled up against soft voice instead of in my own comfortable bed, that's love. When Duchess allows loud voice to pet her even when she'd prefer to be left alone, that's love. When Buster greets the giants at the door each evening as if they've been gone for years instead of hours, that's love. We don't need the giants for survival. We're perfectly capable cats who could manage on our own. We choose to stay, to participate in their routines, to provide comfort and companionship, because we've developed genuine affection for these strange, helpless, wonderful creatures. As I write this, in my mind, of course, cats don't actually write, though I suspect we could if we wanted to. I'm curled up in my favourite spot on top of the bookshelf, watching the evening routine unfold below me. Duchess is in her royal position on the arm of the large soft rectangle, graciously allowing Soft Voice to admire her perfect posture. Buster has claimed Loud Voice's entire lap and is purring with the volume of a small engine. The giants are making their usual mouth sounds at each other, probably discussing the day's events in their inefficient giant language. From my elevated perspective, I can see the whole picture. This house isn't really about giants or cats, it's about family. We've created something together that none of us could have created alone. The giants provide security, comfort, and care. We cats provide companionship, emotional support, and entertainment. But more importantly, we've all learned to love creatures that are completely different from ourselves. The giants love us despite our independence, our nocturnal activities, and our tendency to knock things off surfaces. We cats love the giants despite their clumsiness, their inefficient communication, and their bizarre grooming habits. I am small, but I am part of something much larger than myself. I am Pixel, member of this household, guardian of my giants, and participant in the daily miracle of different species choosing to care for each other. Tomorrow will bring another cycle of the morning routine, another day of naps and patrols and companionship. The giants will stumble through their mysterious daily activities, and we cats will be here when they return, ready to provide purrs and lap-warming services and the comfort of unconditional acceptance. It's a good life here in the House of Giants. Strange, sometimes frustrating, often confusing, but ultimately full of warmth and security and love.